guess so you'll enjoy this presentation on RAG architecture. So we will be sharing valuable insights on RAG architecture. So we'd like to welcome the whole team from Auto BHF here at Pristini. So you're most welcome. We're also glad to welcome Mr. Muafaq. So Mr. Muafaq will be our presenter today. So let me just give you an idea about Mr. Muafaq. So Mr. Muafaq is an AI data cloud engineer, currently serving as a senior data scientist at Auto BHF, specializing in developing AI-driven fintech solutions. So your previous roles include data engineer at Capgemini, where you implemented data-driven solutions for ABN AMRO Bank and Nike EMEA. Okay, so Mr. Muafaq has also worked as an executive educator, tutor, guiding learners from MIT and Oxford in their AI and data capstone projects. So his expertise is backed by certifications from Microsoft and Google and previous nonprofit community leadership with Meta and Amazon. You're most welcome, Mr. Muafaq, and the floor is yours now.
So thank you for the invitation, everyone, and welcome to this workshop. As you can see, tech life is not easy, and sometimes we have unexpected things, and as tech people, we are expected to solve them. And we solve the issue. So the first win of the day. So we will have 90 minutes to cover one of the most recent technological subjects on the market and in the entire world. Let's deep dive in. So we're gonna start by RAG introduction. We're gonna understand what is RAG, and then we're gonna immediately jump into advanced RAG. We will not go through the medium because I'm sure all of you are smart and bright people. No need to treat you like babies. We can jump straight into the most important part. After that, we're gonna talk about multi-model RAG in Azure. And as AI students, I think you will be interested in having multi-models. We will follow up by Agentic RAG, and Agentic RAG is something very new, recent. We started hearing about it in 2024, and in 2025, already big companies are investing in that. After that, we will have a simple Azure RAG example, and this is one of the solutions we deploy at ODBHF, but what you're gonna see is something open source. We do not use it, but we use something similar in-house because it's confidential. Yeah, Ines is looking at me. It's not our internal project, but something similar. After that, we're gonna follow up by a workshop, and we're gonna finish by a Kahoot, which is Q&A to test your understanding about stuff, and it's gonna be interactive. And I think the most part is the last part, is the Kahoot, because in 90 minutes, we cannot cover all the theory, we cannot go in depth in the workshop, it will be brief, but Kahoot will enable us to interact on all aspects, theoretical and practical, and test your intelligence and your connaissance. So, RAG introduction. So, first of all, who heard about RAG before? Okay, we have 4 people. This is gonna be a bit challenging for me. And who's using Microsoft Azure services can raise their hands. Nobody, it's perfectly fine. Who knows AI? All of you. Yeah, I think you are the only university that is dedicated to AI, so it's obvious. Who's using ChatGPT? Okay, maybe I can formulate my question. Who's cheating with ChatGPT? Okay, Kelthum, you can write down their names. Okay. How about chatbots? Did you guys design chatbots before, develop chatbots before? Raise your hands.
Somehow.
Okay, good. So, What RAG is retrieval augmented generation. It's a fancy way, I would say it's a more commercial way to say chatbot. What's the difference is now it's powered by LLM. Who knows what LLM is? Nice. So, an LLM is a large language model, and the difference between classical AI, where we have NLP, which is natural language processing, yeah, it's been a while, is that NLP is very limited. NLP, you cannot embed a lot of data. You can have a couple of millions, and it's not that efficient. Now, with OpenAI, the whole world witnessed how great an LLM is, which is ChatGPT version. Now we have multiple of those. The number of parameters is billions, and it's estimated for the ChatGPT for O to be trillions. And that trillions encompasses the human knowledge. So all humanity knowledge was put inside vectors. Who knows what a vector is? Well, you should. You take math courses. So in order to model human knowledge, what scientists have thought about is converting textual data into a mathematical format, which is the vector format. And what a vector is I will give you a simple example. You can think about 3D space, and every time you have a word similar to the other word, they will converge and slowly converge. If you have NLP, which is natural language processing, you will not have enough words or tokens that can be put together to deliver vectors with very similar and limited space. So mathematically, we are talking about something very basic, but the scale of it needs to be very large. If you train a billion parameter, you will not end up with a ChatGPT. You will need to train hundreds of billions and trillions to be able to do that. So mathematically speaking, we are talking about matrices, multiplications, and we are talking about data centers doing these matrices multiplications. You cannot do them on your laptop. It's impossible. So the technology behind LLMs and RAG is very simple. You scrape the entire internet and you will have trillions of texts and messages and human communications, and you convert all of that into vectors. Those vectors will be multiplied using specific mathematical functions to distinguish between the nouns, the verbs, the adjectives, and slowly, while we're training this large corpus of data in data centers on GPU racks, the human knowledge will have mathematical links between. So when we have the word queen and the word king, the LLM understands that there is a similarity to them because he has seen the data repeat itself multiple times in a different setting. What that means, these matrices are have a lot of hidden knowledge. So if you ask it about sport, it can know what the sport is about. If you ask it about medicine, it will know the details of medicine. Why? Because it's been trained on very large corpus of data, and every single thing was multiplied by specific matrices to know its exact place and exact distance. So, since you do not deal with RAG, I needed to do some simple mathematical explanation, and this is how things work. I know it's a bit boring. You want the action, we will have the action. But theory is important too. And the first part of action is to actually understand the architectures, how ChatGPT was built, and how we can build our own ChatGPTs, how we can build our own LLMs. It's through these architectures. In here, we are trying to consume documents. So for example, let's take finance. Is the easiest example for me. And we have those financial documents. What we need to do is to chunk those documents into smaller tokens. So wherever you are in sports, you are in finance, you are in entertainment, your data will be fed into the model through chunking and then embedding. Embedding is going from normal human text
Plain English.
into, and English too,
Yes.
into vectors. And those vectors will be stored in matrices. Those matrices will be stored in something new, in a vector database. Who knows SQL database? Okay, SQL, a database SQL. Okay, it's SQL.
The teacher is sitting in front of us.
I know it.
Good. By the way, are we recording?
Yes, we're good.
Great, thank you.
You're
So,
welcome.
why I made all this introduction is because it justifies the architecture. Because anybody can tell me we can store them in PostgreSQL database or we can store them in Maria database, but we cannot. We need to store them in a vector database because my data is vectorial. Does not have SQL relationships like RDBMS, relational database structures. It's not. The data is bound with mathematical functions. So you cannot put it, for example, on MariaDB. You need to put it in a special database dedicated for mathematical computation, and the niche is matrices computation. Because if we change the computation to graph, then we need to have graph databases. By the way, we can use graph databases and they are efficient, but this is the new technology. And I'm making all these introductions because it's fairly new. It's been 2 years, and the last topic that I want to really cover, which is Agentic AI, it's been a couple of months. And we're gonna see together the action, how to actually see in real life an open source vector database and see in real life Agentic AI. If you go on YouTube, you will not find a lot of examples. And if you go and search on Google, also you will not find a lot of examples. So now we are in the middle. We are in the vector database, and what we need to deliver to our model for the model, let's make it simple. The model is ChatGPT, and now we need ChatGPT to be able to answer me in the way that I want it to be answered. Let's say I'm a financial analyst, and I'm trading Apple stocks. And I want to make a lot of money from trading Apple stocks, which does not really happen in real life. It does not work that way. But let's say I love Steve Jobs a lot, I'm in his auditorium, and now I want to make money from Apple. I will give him that context. I will tell him, please be my financial advisors and be an expert on the company Apple and the Apple products, and give me the stock when I need to buy it, when I need to sell it, and make the trades. That would be my context. And the query is the question you ask the LLM. So RAG is a way to interface with this technology, and putting the query and the context together, that's what we call a prompt. Now, who have heard about prompt engineering? Okay, I saw your NVIDIA certifications. Congrats. Your director is studying harder than you guys.
I'm always as a learner.
Yeah, you are an excellent example. So, we have the prompt template, and now my answer to the question will be put in the right context, like a financial advisor trying to make trades. My LLM will ingest that data that I just fed it into him and give me an answer. My question was, who knows prompt engineering? A lot of people talk about prompt engineering, and then some universities, unfortunately, they teach it. There is no mystery to it. It's a hype. There is nothing called a prompt engineer and doing this stuff, and there is no special knowledge. There is absolutely nothing special about it. You have a context, and you have a question, and you feed it to your LLM. The best practices, people talk about them, and everybody have a special way to interact with the LLM. It's all hoax. Nothing of that is true. So whenever you hear about prompt engine, hopefully I'm not offending anybody. Kelton, do you have prompt engineering course?
Yeah, we do as for the boarding session.
Yeah, good. Great onboarding. Cannot be a course. Okay. For a moment I was like, maybe they teach it as a course. It's not. The whole thing you need to know, prompt template have a query and a context and that's it. There is no special words and keywords. You're gonna see it on Facebook, you're gonna see it on YouTube. It's a complete grifting. Who knows the grifting concept?
Not really.
Grifters? Like when there is a new topic and suddenly everybody is an expert on the topic.
It's a hype, I believe.
It's a hype, and when you use it financially, then you are a grifter. So with the influencers you see on social media, they thrive on grifting. There is absolutely no knowledge about that. But some universities teach it as a course, and we just did it in 50 seconds. Now, the architecture we have seen can be divided into two parts, at least for in the introduction level. The two parts are ingestion and inference. So for the ingestion part, we have explained it. You have plain English or Arabic, and you embed your data, you store it in a vector database, and then you have a prompt template. That's the whole ingestion phase. And then you have the inference phase. And the inference, who knows inference? Okay. Good student, you know everything. I'll stop asking.
It's good.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
a work student.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Note her name too.
Yeah.
So, the inference is something we do after we train our model. So whatever model you have, after you train it and you export it to your preferred format, and in here I will recommend joblib. Hopefully in the future you remember that. Then you take the model and you feed it your data. I don't have 3 hands. Okay. This is the model. Actually, this is the model. And now we're gonna feed it data. Imagine this is my data. So my data is going inside of the model to produce something smart. So whenever we are talking about AI technologies, it's always almost the same. You have a model, you have data to input, and you have your output. This process is called inferencing. In inferencing, there are techniques, there are easy stuff, there are hard stuff, but the best way to visualize it is through this architecture. In the augmentation generation phase, this is how the LLM inference. So, I think it's a lot of new tech stuff for you guys. So, how about all of you go up for a second? All of you? Refresh.
Just this.
It was just for me to take a break. So thank you guys. I think you are now refreshed. Now we can ingest more knowledge. Is the advanced track. So we're still talking about RAG, but I thought we need a break before making money. And this is how I make my living. Right, Maru? They pay me for this. So I can pay my rent because of this. You can do that in the future. Also, you can make a lot of money if you freelance, if you give tutoring sessions, if you want to build your own startup. This is the most lucrative thing in the IT industry right now. Let's check it. Okay, good. It looks simple, and it looks like the first slide, but there is a small difference. The difference is how you pre-retrieve your data and how you post-retrieve your data. And this is where we talk about fine-tuning our results. So, basically, if you want to be a trader, a financial analyst who trades Apple stocks. Okay, let's make it more real. In trading, you need to have a niche. For example, you have semiconductor fields, you have tech fields. You are a trader in tech field. And one of the companies you want to trade their stocks are Apple, Microsoft, Google. They come in a package. You can do it single, one by one, but usually traders will do it in a batch. You don't buy one stock, you buy multiple of them and you trade them. And this is where it gets a bit tricky. So in the first stage, we talked about one company. Now we talk about trading the stocks of multiple companies. We need to give more details to our pipeline. What you're seeing here as architecture with the arrows, we call that a pipeline. You need to give details in every step. So when you go to ChatGPT and you ask it, how can I trade stocks? It will not give you a good answer. No matter how smart your prompt is, no matter how good the data that you have, does not work. So every step on the way, you need to give in-depth details. And that happens in the pre-retrieval. How can I retrieve my information? So usually you guys, you put a PDF. Who put a PDF on ChatGPT? Nice, those are your homework PDFs. Everybody's laughing? Good, good. I wish we had ChatGPT when I was a student. So, when you put the PDF, that's English. Because you are respectful universities, you teach your student in English, not in other languages. And if you are trading stocks, you have time series. You have a delta t of time, and it's different from having textual English. So if you chunk your data, which is dividing your document into smaller words and tokens, the data, the way you divide it, will break the logic. So if today I tell you the stock goes up by 1% and tomorrow is down by 5%, and I put that into a paragraph, and you happen to go at the top after you can see the document's logo and you chunk it wherever, your time series will be broken. The logic of the data and the order of the data will be broken. Bear in mind that LLMs do not store all details of the information. They are, in math, they are bad. They are large language models, they are not large numerical models. They do not deal well with mathematical numerical aspects. So there is no solution to that. But there are techniques, like in the chunking techniques, when you can make it more coherent. After that, in the post-retrieval, in the context, you can give better templates to handle the numerical data. So LLMs are good until they are not. And if you ask any LLM, give me a strategy, they will tell you in some way it's not reliable. So we can do it now. Give me a trading strategy for AAPL. I know in advance the answer will be garbage. And thank God the answer is bad. Do you know why?
You have no context.
Yeah, but I'm loving the fact that the answer is bad, because if the answer is good, we will have no jobs. So whenever ChatGPT or DeepSeek give me a wrong answer, I know I will keep my job. Okay, right, Nader? Yeah.
It's not the right question to. Not even the right time.
Yeah. So, what did it give me? Zero actionable insights.
Well,
Zero actionable insights.
I mean, it's super. We've been waiting this thing because you didn't provide any details. Because
Yeah.
if you're going to ask the same question for a normal human being, it's going to be even much better and much worse.
Yeah.
So you can't really judge it since you didn't provide any context.
We can upload PDFs about numerical data and it will still crash.
Yeah, somehow.
Because after a couple of iterations, it will forget. You don't have a way to control it. The way to control an LLM and put it into production is to use RAG and to code. That's what we are doing in this workshop. And this is the importance. So why I'm emphasizing this point? Because of the hype. Everybody's telling us we are losing our jobs. Everybody's telling us these models are smart. Everybody's telling us this is super intelligence, this is AGI, this is ASI, and it can understand everything, and it can pass the entire human knowledge. That's wrong. It does not. And it cannot replace humans. The only thing it can do is reinforce humans. And here we talk about the concept of extended intelligence. We move on from artificial intelligence to a human AI symbiosis. We call that extended intelligence. So if you do not use AI, you will lose your job, but AI will not take your job. It's very important for AI students to know that, because it is crazy in the news how much lack of knowledge they have, and they make everybody scared. So people ask me, will I have a coding job? Yeah. Just ask ChatGPT and it will not answer your errors. You need to have some brain, and you enhance your own capabilities with AI. If you have a project and you want to outperform your friends, the solution now is not to use ChatGPT, but to use a RAG architecture, where you fine-tune your LLM toward the specific need you have. The job loss market that everybody is talking about because of this technology is for the people who do not use it. So for us at OWHF, we adopted this technology and we are empowering the other departments to use it. Why? So we can outperform our competitors. And usually also I see in the workshop, like people will give some workshop completely detached from reality. I try to make it closer to what you will see in the industry. So hopefully those points are clear, and this is the advanced, and it does not look that advanced. So we can all learn it, it's simple, and spend some time on it, and then we can produce cool stuff that we're gonna see together. We talked about chunking, leveraging metadata that's more advanced. The way you search your data also impacts your result, because there is a big difference in the way you ask questions. So for example, if you go to your teacher and you do not do your homework, how can you ask pertinent questions? But if you spend the whole night trying to understand the homework and then you ask your teacher, you will have better answers because you prepared yourself. This is exactly what we do with LLMs. We try to ask them while putting in our minds that they will interact differently to the things we have. So in vector search, it only cares about the math, the relationship between different tokens, between different vectors, between different matrices. If you focus on semantic search is different. Semantic search will look more on the meaning of stuff, while vector search will only care about the mathematical relationship between the words that you do not see. Semantic search is more, we have it in NLP, and you can use BERT. For example, you have 10 AI books and you use vector search, it will give you solid facts. If you use semantic search, it will give you more rich context. It will not be very precise like vector search, but it will be more broad. So if you have a technical book, that's good. But how about poetry? If I go and use vector search on poetry, it will not give me a good result. Because I need more sense about the words. I don't need like straight facts. And these parts we need to be aware of about in the advanced tracks. So the advancements are not really technical, the advancements of how we structure our projects using on-prem services or on cloud services. But the best practice sometimes is to combine different techniques together. So for us, what we do is to combine vector search with semantic search to query the data we have. Now for query, for just querying, you can use NLP. And you say, if these two are similar, you just use Gaussian similarity. And if these two are similar, then give me the score. It will be 90%, it will be 85%, but it's not very precise. So the best thing is to combine multiple techniques. This is a comparison table of the things we were talking about. And now we move on to multi-model RAG. But before moving on to that, how much time do we still have left?
30 minutes?
I believe it's more.
Next time. But we're still
Okay, let's say 30, 45 minutes. Okay. So, multimodal RAG is the ability to use text, to use video, to use audio in our models. You can do that with open source technologies. You can also do that with cloud technologies. For me, I prefer Azure because it makes it easier to consume these services. And we are currently at OWHF leveraging all of that. We are working on audio, we are working, not video, but we are working on images, we are working on text. And we are providing different departments, which are our end users, with web applications powered by ChatGPT. So we taken ChatGPT from its platform that you use on Chrome and made a tailor-made version of it, and we have shipped it into a website format for multiple departments. And this is the notion of multimodal RAG. You do not only rely on text, you rely on all multimedia. Now, how can we do it with videos and images? In images, we can apply a model to describe what the image have, and that description is in plain English, so I will take that description. If you do it on audio, we will have STT, speech to text, and that speech will be converted into text. If you have a video, actually we do not have that, but you can do it. If you have videos, the video audio will be converted into text and then can be consumed by the model. So whatever format of data you have, we can consume it. And now with the almost final, actually is the final technology I want to talk to you about. It's trending between geeks and people who are deploying new technologies, which is Agentic RAG. Agentic RAG is a transformation between an old way of doing softwares and building softwares and the new way of doing that. How can we do it? So in a traditional software, you program everything and you command your software to do things in a very niche format. The software will not do anything else. It will do something very specific because it does not have its own brain to think. Now imagine a software who is a bit more flexible and have some brain and can navigate nuances of things. We call this agentic softwares, and they come from Agentic AI. What's the big deal about this? For example, if you have an LLM and you want to query your PDFs, good for you. But how about you want the LLM to work on your Outlook? Outlook is like Gmail. How about you want an LLM that works on your Instagram, an LLM that works on your Facebook, LLMs who use Snapchat? Okay, 1, 2, okay. I don't feel very old. Nice. I'm still young. You want an agent for everything you have in life. Social platform, work platform, you can use it also on Discord if you know Discord. How can we do that? We need an AI agent expert on that tool. Usually what we do is RPA, which is robotic process automation. So we will go to that platform and then try to automate the steps that humans do. And those steps that humans do, now AI can do them. So the LLM will be smart enough to navigate those tools. If we put multiple agents together, then we will be talking about the concept of master agent and slave agent. The master agent will coordinate multiple agents with multiple different purposes. And those multiple different purposes can be, hey, go to my Facebook and get me the latest birthdays of my friends. Go on Instagram and get me the best, I don't know, sport influence. Go to Discord and tell me who are the trending Discord channels. These are the examples we can have. Also, it can work on the financial market. You can have an AI agent expert in tech, AI agent expert in healthcare, AI agent expert in finance, and all these experts are orchestrated by a master agent. So the master agent is the mastermind that will tell the smaller agents the big strategy, and it will deliver the final output. But the real brain are the slave agents who are expert in their niche use of tools or niche data. And that's, in a nutshell, what agentic RAG is. Here is the architecture. We start by a query, and we have our master agent retrieve it, and then it will tell the slave agents, go do web search, go to Slack, go to Gmail, and it will tell the tools, go query this vector database, go do whatever you want. Because an LLM is like a small brain, and that small brain will try to interact with its environment. So one of the best definitions I have found this weekend is agentic AI is AI models in a loop with tools. I've been updating this deck for a couple of weeks because these technologies are being released on a daily basis. The best definition for agentic AI I found is, can you see my mouse?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, it's dedicated for workshops. It's big enough. So, agentic AI is AI models in a loop with tools. You put it with a tool, you put it with your data, and it will be expert on that. It will iterate through your environment, and that's what your agent do. It will make mistakes, it will correct itself.
But what makes it different from RAG? Because if you dig deeper, it's the same concept mainly.
RAG is almost having one agent. If you have multiple of those, we will transition to the concept of agents. A RAG will understand one thing, but When you want to be an expert in multiple things, then your RAG need to be an agent specific to that, another RAG specific to another thing, and that would be your agent. And because it interacts, it's more about the interaction with the tool. RAG is retrieval augmented generation, it's more textual, but an agent can automate the process. For example, it can go to my Gmail.
Reinforcement learning agents.
Ah, okay.
It's interaction with tools. RAG cannot interact with tools, just text.
Static data.
But with that text, we can introduce automation. And that introduction of automation, it will go to my Gmail, it will go to my, for example, event folder. Those are my last events. You can go to...
But deep inside agents are RAGs, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, it's powered by RAG plus RPA capabilities, which is robotic process
Gotcha.
automation. Yeah. So also you can make an agent for LinkedIn. I have a couple of notifications.
Well, I've used the one with Copilot, so I'm more.
Copilot is an agent.
I mean, it has an inner ability agent AI with the composer part, like Cursor AI.
Exactly. That's an excellent example. It's Microsoft who created the concept of having agents through Copilot. So they created Copilot and they said Copilot
Well,
have
I
multiple
believe
agents.
they have just added for the February update.
No.
It was just added.
There was a beta release.
Because I've done a couple of researches about it.
When was the Copilot released?
In February. Agent mode. Because there was the chat,
Yeah.
the composer, something like Cursor AI, and then they've added the part of agent or added. You can select which one you want to switch with OpenAI.
Yeah, but Cursor is a different thing.
Yeah, but they're closer. But Cursor is somehow...
For coding.
But Copilot did the same thing. I mean, I'm talking about the chat part.
Oh, GitHub Copilot.
GitHub Copilot, yes.
Because Windows have its own.
No, I'm not talking about ChatGPT version of Copilot.
Okay. Now I get you. So few technologies having the same name.
Yes.
Yeah, both of them are for coding, but the better example is the Microsoft Copilot because it have multiple agents. It will take care of your docs, your PPTX, your PDFs,
Yes.
and it orchestrates all of that under the name of Copilot. But for coding, a GitHub Copilot is a different thing.
Yes, that's one.
Yeah, Cursor have introduced that, and Cursor can browse solutions outside of its LLM and then interpret them and iterate to solve the thing.
Yes.
That's Agentic AI. That's one of the examples, and your environment will be your code.
Yes.
Thank you for the example.
You're most welcome.
So I think we do not have much time left. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you a real life application of a RAG. And it have all the components that we have talked about. So it's not the advanced. I did it Saturday night. And it will obey this architecture.
If I may ask a
Yeah, sure.
question about the pre-retrieval and the post-retrieval, because I'm having a hard time understanding it.
Yeah, sure. Let's put...
I mean, technically speaking, what's the difference between the pre-retrieving, the retrieving, the post?
Pre-retrieval encompasses capacities of...
Can you give us an analogy or something like that?
Yeah, I will look for an example. Pre-retrieval is a stage that happens while you are manipulating your data. So in pre-retrieval, I will go, for example, we use two models, ADA and text-free large, ADA 3 and text-free large. That's a pre-retrieval technique because ADA is focused on something and text-free large focuses on bigger context. Text-free large can handle images. So if I'm embedding images, the image will be described through text. So if I see auditorium, it will count the number of people in the auditorium. Text really large, when you embed images, it will accept it. That's a pre-retrieval. Ada cannot do that. So before retrieving the information, I need to processing in a way that can handle multimedia. Other models cannot do that. In the post-retrieval, I will be focusing more on.
C'est comme si c'est une molinette de LLM.
At this stage, we are not talking about LLM, but LLM can be leveraged to do that.
For the part of pre-retrieval.
The pre-retrieval happens with LLM, but a different kind of LLM. For example, ADA3 and Text3 Large are not the ChatGPT that you use on a daily basis. These are made for embedding.
Okay, yeah, I got it.
Yeah. And your question is?
The difference between the average retrieval, the pre-retrieval that we're talking about right now, and the post-retrieval, something like that?
Yeah, you have automatic techniques to do it, but when you have something specific, like you want audio or you want images, in the pre-retrieval stage, you need to choose a specific model. You don't just deploy the by
So
default model.
it's like an extra processing.
Yeah, it's extra processing.
Okay.
Because the default model will only handle text. You can use an SLM.
Like it's an reinforcement tool to reinforce the retrieval process.
Exactly, but I wouldn't use the word reinforcement.
Not from the technical side, for
Yeah.
reinforcement learning.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
It's a more fine tune of how I'm gonna get my data.
But for textual use cases, what can be the pre-retrieval?
You will have SLMs, you have LLMs, and you will have a much very larger LLMs. For example, for Chinese, one of the best models was Qwen. And if you are dealing with Chinese, they have Cantonese and they have something else. You need in the pre-retrieval stage to choose something more specific, more pertinent for that.
Okay.
So it depends on your business setting. Unlike ChatGPT, it will give us always the same answers. So that's why in the pre-retrieval stage, we are using something more specific. Yeah.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Good. Thank you.
Great. That's what we are actually doing and experimenting. And we settled down with text-free large because it's more performant.
Okay.
Let's go to the workshop. Also in the pre-retrieval, there is a very important stuff is the database you choose. Not all vector databases are the same. There is Quadrant, there is ChromaDB, there is Azure Vector Database.
4NewG also, I believe.
Huh?
4NewG or something like
That's a graph database.
that. Okay.
But you can use it, but it's not dedicated to the business case we have.
But I believe it's more powerful than the average.
It is for big data, not for vector data.
Okay.
Neo4j is a vector database. You can use it, but it's not the number one choice category. It's not the number one category.
So what about GraphRite?
Also graph database.
Okay, so that combines the architecture of Graph and the technique of Rite.
Can you please repeat your
I
question?
said that combined the architecture of a graph and the techniques of Rite, just the retrieval.
That's super powerful. That's what they are currently using. But in most RAG cases, okay, here is how you combine them. Use graph when, I'll show you something. hopefully I find the graph I want. And I'm not. Oh. Okay, entire screen. I'll give you an example from my head. So, for example, you are traveling between different cities. Do you know the Voyager dilemma?
Yeah.
So, in the Voyager dilemma, you have a graph. And in that graph, you have nodes and edges. We can introduce those nodes. If you have in your business use case, can be break down into nodes and edges, like the Voyager dilemma. Then it will be an added value to put it with a vector database. But if your business case does not have that, like for example in finance, you do not have defined nodes and edges, then adding the graph database will be not useful.
Yeah.
There is a GIF that can show you when you change the parameter, the rest of the parameters they change. Because graphs are more Bayesian equations oriented. So probability de A sachant B and probability de B sachant A. So if you know those probabilities, it is smart to use graph databases in combination with a vector database. But if in your use case you do not rely on those probabilities, for example, for sports news, you don't use it. But it is very smart to combine both. I love your question. So, all right, before going to the workshop, because I'm seeing people have questions, do you have more questions? I don't bite. I think we already know that. I don't bite. So you can ask whatever question. Okay, go ahead. I'm proud of you.
You say that you use that ChatGPT give us the same answers, or
Almost.
almost.
Yeah.
And you use something more specific.
Yeah.
What you mean more specific?
For example, for Chinese language, I will use Quen. It's developed, I think, by Alibaba. For more business-oriented, let's say for more politically correct LLM, I will use Anthropic. For coding, I will definitely use Anthropic.
So it depends on the subject what I use.
Yeah.
On the context.
For political correctness, I will use Llama. For coding, I'll definitely use Anthropic. Last night, the night before last night, because I have nothing to do. Anthropic released their new benchmark, and it outperforms their previous model by 30%. That means it can solve most coding issues, and it was benchmarked on the SWE benchmark, which is the software engineering benchmark. So if you code, don't use ChatGPT, use Anthropic. But Anthropic is paid model, so you need to pay for it. And if you are in a business setting, these payments can make a big difference.
And even for web development, Claude 3.5 is much better than others.
Claude Sonnet
Yes.
3.5. They released 3.7 2 nights ago.
I haven't tried it yet, but I've tried 3.5 with Cursor AI, and it's super fantastic.
You should try 3.7. Now I worry about my job. But I have the business understanding, and this is what engineers and AI people need to know. At some point, everybody on your team will be almost on the same level. You need to have more tricks on your sleeves, more knowledge on your sleeves, which is learn DevOps, learn more business, learn how to manage. And this is how you can be a great engineer. Don't just focus on the technical stuff, also focus on communication. You're a good communicator. I'm not the best in communication. I try to be coached by my manager, Marwa, on a bi-weekly basis. It helps me professionally. So please, guys, if you want a master's degree, or engineering degree or PhD, like can some have a team of PhD people?
I'm okay.
Yeah. Focus also on your communication. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I said I'm a PhD.
Yeah, I know. You were with us in the seminar, so I know you have a PhD. So these small things now is negligible, but in the workplace is very valuable because after all of you will know AI. The distinction is, for example, make a presentation. For example, some people are shy. I'm a very shy person. I just know how to hide it, and that's a skill. I try to talk to students the way I wish my professors talked to me, except they did not. So I used YouTube to teach myself. Hopefully, I know it's funny comments, but believe me, guys, in the future, maybe one day you'll thank me. Try to learn other stuff than technical stuff, other stuff than AI. You have an excellent example. Keltham's doing seminars all the time, communicating with people, headhunting people. So focus on those two because at the end everybody will know the same tech stuff. How much time you still have?
Just 10 minutes.
Okay, great. 10 minutes. Let's go to the workshop. So for this workshop, I'm using OpenAI API. And I'm checking my billings. I have enough credit. And what I'm going to show you is my VS Code. So what I have done is I built a website for customer support. It's the most vanilla use case. I don't like it, but it's a great learning exercise. And what the customer support website will do is you give it a customer ID and then you interact with it to help you solve problems. It's a generic, it's not specific like customer support for a bank or for an e-commerce is something generic. So we start by the code. Actually, we do not have time for the code. And this is an AI agent. AI agent dedicated to customer support. It can be dedicated to finance, it can be dedicated to whatever you want. The differences are in the pre-retrieval, the post-retrieval, how you process your check your data, and how you search for stuff. But the basics always the same. So I have my website running. I cannot run it in front of you because it takes a couple of minutes. So coming in the car, I was able to run it. So first thing, this is my website. What is my website? Stop sharing. I don't know why the screen is not being shared. Okay.
In the meantime, have you used Cursor AI?
Unfortunately not.
Oof. It's really concerning for web developers because it's a super powerful AI developer. I mean, for managers, for
Yeah.
people who have no background about web technologies and so on, you can build an application from scratch. I mean, backend, front end, database management stuff, and so on.
That's why you need to learn other skills.
Yes.
If you don't have multidisciplinary skills, you will lose in the job market.
Yes, unfortunately.
Those LLMs are fine-tuned on specific programming languages, and Cursor
Well,
AI
for Cursor AI, it's generic. I mean,
super fine-tuned.
for Angular, Java,
Yeah.
Python.
Try it with COBOL or Haskell or Perl or R.
But who uses COBOL for now? I mean, There's a
need-
couple of ones,
for
Sopra,
banks?
Sopra, and something like that. But for other, yeah, Sopra HR, they use Google.
Yeah.
For other, I mean, it's all about Angular, Python, and so on.
They are fine-tuned on those programming languages. That's why they are super performant. And they are fine-tuned on the benchmarks.
Yes.
So don't be worried in the
No,
future.
I'm not worried because I'm not a web developer.
It will not be like what they say in the news. I'm sorry, it's not sharing. I did. Hopefully it works. Nope. No.
Okay. اسمع, I really suck at
Change settings, search for, okay.
Yes, I believe you have to hang out and then.
Yeah. It disconnected multiple times. Okay, join. Nice. We still have 4 minutes. I think I can do it in 4 minutes. So, once again, by the way, sorry for the technical problems. It's out of my hand. And on the left is my code. On the right is my server running. And the technologies we are using to store data is Quadrant. Quadrant is a vector database. And with Quadrant, I'm using OpenAI. And my code is dealing with LLM in agentic way. So I'm building an agent for customer support. And my solution is Dockerized. So what we're going to see is Docker. Docker is a container solution, and this is how I can copy-paste my work with you, and it will work for every one of you because we're gonna share the same environment. So with Docker, you can ship your product anywhere, and it will always guarantee to be work, and we can see it up and running. It's consuming 230 megabytes of my 4G connection. And we now made sure that the container is working. We made sure that the server, I'm having a local server to run the project. Now we're gonna see the result, which is a working website, which is an AI agent of a working website of customer support. Here we are. So the first thing, it will give you enter OpenAI API key. I have done that. And then it will ask you to enter your customer ID. I randomly put 45. And then it will ask you to generate synthetic data because this is just a workshop. We do not have real life data. It takes a couple of minutes to do that. I still don't know why, but it works. And then I can see the customer profile. This is the details of the customer profile. Also, it's fakely generated data, and I can see view memory info. We are dealing with one customer, which is me, number 45. I told him, give me the customer ID 45, and he said, it's confidential. So I felt insulted because I created them, and now he's telling me it's confidential. I'm designed to respect users' privacy and confidentiality. Anyway, give me the list of support that you can provide me with. And my AI agent is telling me I can give you product information, order status, returns and refunds, account management, payment issues, technical support. And I told him, help me with payment issues. He said, sure, I'll be happy to help you with payment issue. Could you please provide more specific details about your problem you are facing? I'll say, you stole my money. Generating response. I'm very sorry to hear that, but please be assured that techgadgets.com strictly adheres to our financial guidelines. Can you please give me more details about the financial transaction? Like with every customer support, they will not take responsibility for having problems. And that's, ladies and gentlemen, the workshop, and we finished on time. Thank you.
Are you using LangChain in the backend?
Yes, what the heck.
Yes.
Thank you
I'm
very
loud
much.
enough. Are you using LangChain in the backend?
Yeah.
No, because I've done something like that. We're good, we're good. Thank you. You have another question?
Yeah, if you have any
We're good.
questions, so your questions are welcome. Yeah, any questions?
Don't be shy.
Yes, please.
It's very clear.
Very clear.
Just a
Like
small
it's
one.
beautiful.
Yeah, we're good, we're good. Can you roll us back to the overview of the whole solution, because it's still a little bit ambiguous for me.
What? Okay. Oh.
No, just for the overview of the
Yeah, okay.
practical part.
We...
No, for the solution that you've used. I mean, the technologies that you've used, not for the theoretical part. I'm good with that.
We have used Docker.
Back at your VS Code.
Okay. In here, I only showed the running server, because if you need to run a server for the website to work on your local host.
I'm looking for the source code.
I know.
Unless it's not confidential.
It's not confidential, but I'm not sharing. So,
Great answer. No, I know. Because I've used something like that, but I'm wondering. I'm curious about how did he use the technicalities behind it.
it's open source, no secrets.
I know.
You need to try by yourself, I guess.
Thank you.
You can type LLM awesome agents, and you will find the repo on GitHub.
Crew AI.
No, I think it's an Indian guy,
Okay.
and there are multiple of them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions? Okay.
So I think I was very clear, since you do not have questions, and it was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Muwafaq. So,
Without Mr.
okay. I really liked your talk. I liked also when you spoke about the other skills you should develop with alongside with AI skills and technical skills, etc. So this is a reminder for my students to attend communication skills classes. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's it. So if you have no more questions, we can call it a day and thank the whole team. All of you, thank you very much for coming here. So you're most welcome at Pristini. Thank you again, Mr. Muwafaq. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.